I need to start this video with a warning. There are some pretty juicy numbers in this video in terms of market gains, and I think it'd be really wrong of me to make out that the last 3 months has been anywhere close to normal for me or any other investor for that matter. We all know the market swings up and down, but I would say the last 3 months are pretty much as good as it gets. Well, I guess without it being the bottom of the market in terms of a rebound. For this growth to come after such a sustained period in terms of a bull run is pretty eye-watering. My real thoughts go out there to anybody who doesn't have any sort of investments. That isn't an invitation though to anybody who hasn't got any sort of investment portfolio. I wouldn't want someone to suddenly jump in. So please don't do anything crazy as a result of this video, as I am not a financial advisor. I don't have a crystal ball. Well, for that matter, nobody has. So yeah, don't do things stupid. Okay? We good? Okay, let's get on with it then. I haven't made any sort of full portfolio update before, but I can see that portfolio updates are really popular on YouTube. My take on their popularity is that people are just genuinely curious of what other people are doing with their money, or it could be to simply gain motivation to get started and to gain confidence that everyday people invest and they could too. Sadly, it's extremely true that in society today that talking about money is still very taboo, so YouTube might be one of the few spaces where you can actually see what people are doing with their money. It is truly mind-blowing that something so important in life is so hidden every day. So to clarify my own personal situation, I'm 30. Yeah, I probably do look a bit older, but sales is stressful, okay. I do have a decent job, nothing mind-blowing. I live in a 3-bed semi, and I've been investing for just over 3 years, so not really that long. There's no secret tricks or mass inheritance that supports my portfolio. It's simply getting into good investing habits, a few side hustles, and avoid being one of them weekend millionaires. You know the type, white Beamer, Gucci belt, constantly going out, and then has a negative bank balance. No thanks. I'm not looking to make this sort of update regularly, especially as regularly as my Vanguard account and crypto.com portfolio updates, as people prefer the investments that are more relevant to themselves. I'm thinking of doing this around every 3 months or so. So here goes. As of April 2021, how much is my entire investment portfolio worth? Well, let's take a step back first and have a look at where my entire portfolio was back at the start of the year. I've got to say, back then my portfolio was a lot more simple, as it was only made up of 2 parts. This is how it looked. The first being the better known Vanguard Portfolio, and the second and lesser well known part of my portfolio is EQI. If you sat there thinking, why EQI, who were they? Then feel free to check out a video I posted about a week ago about my biggest investment mistake, somewhere in the top right here. So let's start with my Vanguard account. I've been investing into my stocks and shares ISA since the beginning of about 2018. My fund of choice is a ftse all-world ucits ETF, and thankfully it has a ticker symbol, which is vwrl. I personally call it VDubs, but that's pretty cringe. This is one of several global ETFs which Vanguard provide. I did a comparison video of vwrl versus Life Strategy 100 and the Global All Cap, just to give you my thoughts on which one is best. No prize for guessing what my choice is, so anyway, there might be another link in the top right if I can fit it in. So back at the start of the year, my Vanguard account was just shy of £50,000 at £49,599, just £400 short of a glorious milestone. This was made up of about 636 shares of VWRL, and the price at the time was around £77.72, which was just short of an all-time high. This was after the large bull run after the March 2020 crash following the illness. So I have to say I was extremely grateful for my 2020 performance, and I wasn't expecting a hell of a lot from 2021 either. The second and last part of my portfolio back then was my EQI account. If you sat there thinking, who on earth are EQI? Don't worry, I barely know either, but they used to be called self-trade, and that most likely doesn't help you any further either. In this account, I had 4,974 shares of company X. I really don't want to say their name, as I really believe they're not a good investment, but feel free to watch the video that I referred to before about my biggest investing mistake to understand more. All I'll say here is that they're a UK listed company, and they had a share price in January of about 44 pence a share, meaning that my EQI portfolio value was around about £2,205. This means my full investment portfolio at the start of this year came to a grand total of £51,803, giving me a rough split of 4% EQI and 96% Vanguard. Now we're up to speed, let's see how my portfolio's gotten over the last 3 months. Well, from a top line point of view, a lot has changed, as technically we've gone from just 2 separate accounts to 5. Let's start with the smallest and work our way to the biggest to see where my money is and how it's done over the last 3 months. Starting with the 2 smallest positions, I now have accounts with both Freetrade and eToro, which have about £400 cash in them between them. This might sound a little bit odd, as I'm a self-admitted Vanguard fanboy, but this has been driven by a content idea which I have for this channel, which I'm currently in the works with. This £400 isn't invested into anything yet, but it will be soon. The max I want to invest here over the next year is around £1,000, so I'm not expecting it to be a large position. That's all I have to say on that, as I don't want to spoil anything that I've got coming, but expect to see something in the next 4 weeks. My next new portion of my portfolio is the newest and probably most exciting. Following some research I've been doing over the last 6 months, I finally decided that I want my portfolio to have some exposure to cryptocurrencies. At the start of March, I invested £2,000 into crypto.com and bought a pretty wide spread of cryptocurrency. If you want to know more about this portfolio, then feel free to check out the video in the top right. As I've only just started investing into this recently, I hadn't expected too much movement, but as recording this video, my portfolio is currently valued at an eye-watering £3,075, so a 53% gain in just 45 days. I'm not looking to add to the position anytime soon, and I honestly can't believe it. I think that I've just caught the market at a really good time, but eventually it probably will collapse a little bit, so I am bracing myself. Luckily, when I created my account, I decided to buy a broad mix, as I said, of cryptocurrencies, and it's actually the smaller cryptocurrencies that I've bought which have really driven the majority of my gains. Bitcoin really hasn't moved. My next largest position is my dreaded EQI account. I am looking to exit this position when I can, but for the time being I am sticking with it. As I said before, I own £4,974 of Company X. I've got to say I'm really happy, as last week's performance the valuation has really jumped to a whole 69 pence per share, meaning that the value of this portion of my portfolio has jumped from £2,000 to £3,422, so another gain of 50%. It's still a long way off what I've bought it for though, but I'll still take it, don't get me wrong. This brings us to my Vanguard account. As I said before, following the wild ride of the last year, I wasn't too bullish on the outlook for this year. In the last 3 months though, I've increased my position from 636 shares all the way to 666 shares. I know, sign of the devil, it's probably unlucky. In that time, vwrl has gone from £77.72 a share all the way up to £83.15 a share, which is a huge 7% move. So basically, your average annual growth in just 3 months. This has moved my account balance just short of £50,000 all the way up to £55,358, over a 10% gain from a top line point of view. Bearing all this in mind, this has brought my total investment portfolio to a grand total of £62,255. So that's a massive jump of 21% since the start of the year. I wish I could do that every 3 months because I'd be a millionaire pretty quickly. So in terms of the percentage split, I now have 89% in Vanguard, 5% in EQI, 5% in crypto.com, and then less than 1% in trading apps. My goal in the long term is to have 98% in Vanguard and roughly 2% in crypto.com, unless crypto keeps on booming for some reason. My investing apps are only there for a bit of fun and some YouTube content, so I'm not taking that seriously. And as I said before, I really want to get rid of my EQI position as soon as I can, but I want it to recover a little bit more first. My top line change in value is slightly misleading though, as I haven't gained £11,000 to the market. About £4,500 of this is due to my own money that I've contributed into this from my salary and some recent bonuses I've had from work. But even with that said, I've gained £6,500 to the markets, which is an incredible 10% return, which is truly unexpected. My goal is to grow my portfolio in line with the broader market, so anywhere between 8 to 12% a year in terms of an average across the market, plus whatever I invest into it personally. I would consider my investing style as pretty conservative, as I am not looking to beat the markets, and I guess not losing to the markets either. To be transparent, I want to give you a breakdown of where this money has come from. The actual amount I've personally invested is just over £52,000. In terms of where that money's come from, about £20,000 come from my salary over the last 3 years, about £15,000 has come through from sales bonuses, and the further amount of £17,000 has come from my side hustle through match betting. I've actually done a video on match betting, so if you're not familiar with it, then feel free to look at the video in the top right. But to give you a little bit of an insight here, I earned that amount of money over about an 18-month period. If you aren't aware of it, then I'd highly recommend you learn about it. This means that only 20% of my portfolio has actually come from market gains over the last 3 years. It's not like I've just gained 60 grand from nowhere. I'm just looking for it to keep compounding, meaning that my own contributions make a lesser and lesser impact over time. So, I hope you've enjoyed this first full portfolio update. I won't be looking to do another one like this until early January, so let's see what the market does over the next 3 months. I can't say I'm expecting very much, but I would have said that 3 months ago, and look where we are now. If you have any further questions or comments, then I'll try and reply to you in the comment section below. On this channel, I do videos all around investing, finance and income growth. If you want to support the channel, then the least effort thing you can do is just simply liking this video. And if you generally enjoy investing content, then feel free to consider subscribing. I have had some requests for a Patreon page, which I felt a bit uncomfortable about initially, but I've just got around to setting it up. If you want to check it out, then to become a patron on the channel comes for as little as £2 a month, which gives you access to my private Discord server, which, if I'm honest, I'm on all the time. Links will be in the description below. Anyway, whatever you support, I appreciate it all, so thank you. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.